Hi, this is Simon Jarrett and this is Licks, Tips and Tricks number 4. So today I'm working on playing over a chord progression in the key of B flat major. It's a sort of bluesy thing with a 6/8 feel, and I'm finding it quite challenging to play the changes and also make it musical. So I thought I'd make it sort of something that I could share what I'm doing and some of the things I'm working on to try to get around these chords. So basically, first of all, the chord progression, it goes like this. It's B flat 6 or B flat major, and then A flat 7 or A flat 13 if you like, and then G minor 7, and then G flat major 7. So that one's a little different. And then I'm back to the one chord that's a B flat, but this time I've got an F in the bass, and then a C9, and that could have an E in the bass, so we get this nice descending bass line. And then a 2/5, so C minor 7, and an F7. So that's basically it. So just play it once through here. So on the B flat, I can choose to make it more major sounding with a 6 or a major, or I could bluesy it up a bit with a 7th chord. So, some thoughts about some ideas to play over these chord changes. B flat major, so I could play the major pentatonic over that B flat chord. I could put the flat 7 in there, depending on how bluesy I want it to sound. And when it goes to the A flat 7 or the 13 here, so this is an interesting one. It's going into a G minor, so it's resolving there. Now the scale of choice here would be the Lydian flat 7 for those who like scales. It goes like this. It's a root, a second, a third, a sharp 4, a 5, a 6 and a flat 7. But you don't have to play that. You can stick with sort of the B flat major pentatonic and just be careful for a couple of notes. So more on that when we talk about arpeggios. And then G minor, well, it's just G minor is a relative of B flat major, of course, so I can stay in the B flat major sound, major pentatonic, or if I prefer, the G minor pentatonic, same thing. Now when it goes to G flat major 7, that exists within the key of B flat minor. So I could play the B flat minor scale, or I could keep it simple and bluesy and play the B flat minor pentatonic. So that'll be very much in keeping with the bluesy sound. I'm in the key of B flat already, even though it's more major pentatonic. We could slip in some minor pentatonic in there, depending on, subjective, how bluesy you want to make it sound. So the G flat major 7, that would be a good scale. And then that's just the one chord with the 5 in the bass, so back to B flat major. And the 2 as a dominant 7 or a 9th chord. So I could play the mixed Lydian. That's a root 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and flat 7. Or I could go one step further if I want to add that sharp 4. So that's again the Lydian flat 7 scale if I want. And then 2 and 5, that's all in the key of B flat major. We could do some different things on the 5 chord if we wanted, like a half whole scale, but perhaps we'll talk about that later. So we've got all these scales. We could also play arpeggios for all of these chords. And that's one thing that I've worked on and off over the years is getting to know arpeggios up and down the neck. It's a work in progress, like everything. But that's useful too, because that gives me notes that sort of outline the harmony of the chords precisely. It's not that I want to reel off a bunch of arpeggios, because that usually doesn't sound very musical, but having them there is super vital. So I'm going to try playing through the progression a couple of times, and I'll start by using more sort of simple pentatonic based stuff, and then try to pick out some notes from the particular chords, from the arpeggios of those chords occasionally, to spice it up a little bit, and progressively go from there. All right. So, trying to start off with pentatonic and try to make it melodic, and then try to dip in and out of these arpeggios. So if we look at some of these arpeggios, if I say play the the B flat 7, of course once you have the basic arpeggio down, you can embellish the arpeggios, and that's a good thing to experiment with. So I'll play the B flat 7 and then maybe add a couple of notes around it. Up to the 9 there. Add the 4. But it's all a B flat 7 type sound. A flat 7. So again, I've got the basic A flat 7 arpeggio. And I try to get these arpeggios in various spots on the neck, right? And then the G minor 7 arpeggio. And then the G flat major 7. So I try to get these arpeggios all over the neck, and you can practice them just sticking to the arpeggios if you like, and maybe I'll try that just to show you. It won't be so musical, but it's a good exercise to do, I think. So I'm always trying to connect things with little passing notes, but the key is first of all just to get the arpeggio shapes down and then connect them. Also, when you're trying to learn arpeggios, a good way to practice it is play the arpeggio and get to know it in one spot. And then when the next chord comes up, the initial thing you would do, of course, is just go to the root note of that chord and play that arpeggio. But in practice, we want to connect these arpeggios in a nice smooth way. So if I'm going up that B flat, whatever the last note is when that A flat 7 comes up, I want to move smoothly into a note in the A flat 7 chord, hopefully by the shortest possible distance. So for example, if I'm going, let's say I go, so let's say now I'm going to change to the A flat from there. So I could go, so, so you can jump in and out of these arpeggios. You don't have to play them up and down. You can, jump around within them and connect them with scale notes. So there's a lot going on there, and it's a really good idea on any chord progression which I find tricky. I always try to get the arpeggios down at least. I may or may not use them as entire arpeggios, but at least I've got the sort of roadmap that I can dip in and out of if I want to nail the harmony of the chord changes. Alright, so let's try that a little bit more. Once again, I'll start kind of bluesier and then add more arpeggios and more scales. Another thing I thought I'd talk about a little bit today is, as well as practicing playing over these changes, talk a little bit about how you can get make your solos more interesting by varying your pick attack and thinking about the sounds you're getting. So I've got sort of a mild overdrive here, and I can go between different pickup selections, and I can pick harder and softer, maybe use the flash of my thumb or my fingers as well and try to vary it up a little bit. It's a good idea, I think, especially on something fairly mellow like this, not to sort of go balls to the walls and have too much overdrive, although that can be fun, of course. So start by refraining the pick attack a little bit, and then as it gets more bluesy and you want to be more intense, dig in a bit. So think about the way that you attack the string a little bit. So for example, here I'm on the bridge pickup. It's a fairly mild gain. You can sort of massage the note a bit with your pick, especially if you put the pick on the side a bit. I tend to favour really thick picks. This is a 2mm. So rather than pick them straight on the note, I just can't seem to play very well that way. I kind of put it to the side, but because it's a thick pick, I can make it more aggressive that way, but I can also just kind of get a little bit more nuance in the note, like a more dynamic range, I think. I'll go to the neck pickup for a more sort of fluty, thicker sound, of course. Now here, you can use your fingers a little bit. So I'm always trying to be aware of the dynamics a little bit. Some people, of course, have a heavier attack. My attack's relatively light, but I suppose one benefit of having a light attack is that when you want to, you've got more dynamics to go into when you want to dig in, and then it'll stand out more at that point. So you can also vary the tone of the note by where you pick on the string, of course. So if I'm picking more in this area, I get a softer sound. If I pick here, it's brighter with more upper harmonics, right? So sometimes if you're playing a line or an arpeggio, you can vary the strength of the pick attack as you're going. You can start hard and then soften up as it goes on, right? So sometimes it's nice to let a note ring, or when you bend a note, just let it kind of die, let it go, and you can get that space going a little bit. Sometimes the spaces between what you play are more important than what you actually play. So forcing yourself to slow down and open up a little bit of space there can often be quite good, I find.